Getting into the RC hobby has never been easier. Today, you can pull a ready-to-run RC car out of the box, charge up the battery, and have instant gratification. But there are still some decisions that you need to make. How much you gotta spend? What size RC car are you gonna buy? Where are you gonna run it? And I thought that would make a pretty good video to help people understand what they need to look for when buying an RC car. And these two Arrma Granites, I think, are gonna make that decision a little bit easier. And they represent a main category in RC that people enjoy, four-wheel drive monster trucks. So let's break these two examples down to figure out which model might be best for you to get into. So to bring you up to speed, the Arrma Granite is a 4x4 ready-to-run electric off-road monster truck, and it's available in a couple different sizes and trim packages. And that means different price points and different paths to get them up and running. We're gonna start over here with the Granite Grom. And this is a completely ready-to-run hobby-grade monster truck. It comes with everything that you need, and I have everything laid out that comes in the box right here. This currently is $150, and what you get is you get the assembled truck, you get the radio system, you get batteries for the radio, you get the battery for the truck, a USB charger, some basic tools, preload clips, those go on the shocks, just FYI, and of course an instruction sheet. That is an 18 scale truck. And then over here we have a 10 scale truck, which is pretty much considered more of your mainstream hobby grade RC. And this one also comes assembled out of the box. You get the radio system with it, you get batteries, you get some basic tools and the instruction sheet. However, over here you're going to need a battery and charger. So the truck itself currently is $260, and then for the battery and charger that you're gonna need, the most basic setup that I could find, which is a LiPo charger and a 2S 5000 milliamp battery pack, is about $115. So that adds up on the cost pretty quick. If you're looking to stick to a strict budget, you probably want to look at the Grom. $150 is an easy way to get into RC for some fun, but if you're flexible on pricing, maybe the Granite 665 right here is a better option. You get to choose the battery pack and charger that you want, and it's a larger truck. So that leads us on to what size RC truck are you gonna need? This is a pretty critical decision that you need to make, and you have to determine what size space are you going to run in, or what size space are you gonna use to maintain your RC vehicle. So over here, this is a 1/18 scale model, this is a 1/10 scale model, obviously larger. And what's cool about the smaller scale trucks that are really invading RC right now is they can be used in small spaces, and you can maintain them in small spaces such as on a kitchen table or in a corner of your room in your house. But small scale trucks are a lot of fun pretty much anywhere. I mean, you can run it down your driveway. Some people even run it in large living rooms or large basements. Then of course outside you could have baseball parks and parking lots, and you could still hit a BMX track or a skate park as well. It is a smaller feel when you're driving it. The 1/10 scale trucks give you that robust size that just really grabs a lot of attention. So when you hit the skate parks, you're gonna get some big air. When you hit the BMX track, you're gonna get some big air. If you build your own jumps in your backyard or whatever, you're gonna get some big air with a 10 scale truck, and it could take the big hits. But again, it's a larger truck, so it's gonna take up more space wherever you use it or wherever you maintain it. Now let's talk features, and both of these trucks are actually built up well for the entry-level crowd. They have strong chassis with lots of bracing throughout, easy to access battery tunnels with Velcro straps to hold down the battery packs themselves. I do like the tall side guards on the 1/10 scale model, just reduces the maintenance a little bit, although the 18 scale here does have a little bit of a dust guard in the front of it. The suspension is independent on both with oil-filled shocks. They're nice and plush. The drive lines are pretty solid for the stock power systems that are in here. They have gear differentials in the front and rear, but the 10 scale does have an overload coupler in here to help protect the drivetrain, where the 18 scale model actually has a metal spur gear in it. And then both models are the brushed versions. So in the 10 scale, you've got the 665 brush motor with a cooling fan and a heat sink. Over here, you have a 380 size brush motor with just a cooling heat sink on it. Both of them have the 2-in-1 units for the speed controller receiver combos. This uses an IC2 plug, where this uses a more robust IC3 plug. And then they both have standard size steering servos that turn the wheels just fine for play and bash use. And just because the Granite 665 is bigger doesn't necessarily mean all the parts are more expensive. So looking through the parts list on the Horizon Hobby website, The suspension arms are only a few dollars different between the two trucks. And then the shocks, the 10 scale is a little bit more expensive. And then when you get into the drivetrain, some of the parts get a bit more expensive. So if you wanted to replace a complete differential in the 10 scale, that's about $72, where with the smaller truck, if you wanted to replace a complete differential, I think it was around $18. And you can get all the parts separately for this one, but parts cost can be a consideration because RC cars are actually not invincible. It is possible that you can break something even on these trucks. And finally, another consideration with parts is aftermarket options. So with both trucks, there's actually a good number of parts out there. With the rise in the popularity of minis, there's actually a lot of parts for the Groms, and there's definitely a lot of parts for the 10 scale as well. You could find a large selection of tires and different brushless systems and motors and stuff, but just keep in mind that when you start upgrading power, you might have to start upgrading other parts in the driveline with either of these two trucks.
Speed obviously plays a huge role in determining what RC car you're going to get, so we're going to speed test this while the batteries are fresh. I have a meter in the car. It's going to read off of this app here. And let's see how fast this Granite 665 goes. So we'll just send it down the lot. Look at that, trimmed perfectly out of the box. That's cool. Send it back down. And these motors aren't broken in yet, so it may pick up another mile an hour here. But let's see what we got. We got 21 miles an hour out of the box. And that's what Arrma was suggesting on their website, 20 plus miles an hour. All right, now I've got the meter on the back of the Grom. We'll get this fired up and we'll see how fast it goes. It's supposed to go 20 miles an hour or over 20 miles an hour too. So let's see what we got. Oh, this feels a little bit more peppy than the big truck. Spinning around. And again, this brush motor is not broken in. It might pick up another mile an hour. Well, let's see what we got right out of the box. And it is 22 miles an hour. So look at that, right out of the box, the little truck is quicker. So obviously the parking lot's gonna be a fun spot to drive trucks. I mean, there's pretty much parking lots all over the place. You could probably find an empty lot. And look at this Grom handles pretty awesome here. Little slide in the corners, but it's not traction rolling. That's really good. And that's what you gotta get out of a smaller truck. Lower to the ground. But yeah, this thing steers well. It's got some punch for the brush system. This little truck's a blast. This is my first time driving one of these, so I'm into it. This is cool, guys. And obviously, I've got to show you how the 665 handles the tarmac. I got to roll off a little bit more in the corners here. You can see a little more suspension dive because it's got that higher CG. But since it's brush, I mean, it's not that quick where it's gonna roll over hard. Oh, it might. If you crank the wheel hard enough, it might go over. Well, and there it goes. But I mean, you really gotta push that. If you just lighten up in the corners, let it roll through, you're good. Even off power, when it slows up a little bit, it's good in the corners. But you can see, it's gonna be fun in the parking lot. It's definitely got size on its side. Larger vehicles definitely get my heart pumping. Time for the good stuff, RC drivers. Getting the tires dirty. There we go. Little roost action. Power sliding. Man, I forgot how much fun this Granite truck is. It handles so well. Really responsive with the shorter wheelbase. It's pretty quick too. I mean, I'm used to brushless systems, but I can definitely see getting into it. This is gonna be really easy to drive. And they do have selector switch on the back of the radio system, so you could drop it down to 75% throttle, 50% throttle. So you got some young kids you want to throw behind the wheel of this, just knock down the throttle, and it'll be really easy for them to drive. But yeah, look at this, guys. Power slides. Oh, so cool. Plastic bike ramps are out. We're gonna get some airtime, guys. Line it up. Oh, perfect. Absolutely perfect. Easy for anybody to jump. I can already tell. I just kept that flat punch at plenty of torque just to keep the truck level. Oh wow, look at that. I even hit the side of that one. It corrected itself basically. Just the right speed. Anybody getting into RC is gonna get amped with this truck, I think. Look at that. That was almost effortless. I should let off the throttle a little bit. That's one tip I have for you guys. right when the truck's about to land, you want to let off the throttle. And what that does, it reduces the shock to the drive line. So let off, and then back on the throttle again. Now it's time to see what the Grom could do. Man, this thing has got some squirt on the bottom end. Wow. And look at it, it's handling this rough stuff pretty good. I gotta be honest with you, I thought it was gonna be a little bit more uncontrollable here. There we go, I got it sideways. But this is some rough dirt for this truck. Seems to be handling it pretty well. This is oh, we got rocks in it already. And that's the downside to one of these smaller rigs, is it's more susceptible to get rocks caught up in the wheels. Excuse me, rocks caught up in the wheels. Oh, wow. I tell you, they've got something with these Groms. This is why small scale is really taken on. It's because they're so much fun. So capable now. I mean, for getting kicked around, this thing is still pretty controllable. And for the price tag, I mean, wow. There's some serious fun with these. All right, let's get some air now. All right, we'll get it lined up. And I'm sending it off the same size jump as I was with the 10 scale, and I think we got a little bit more air out of it, and it still landed pretty well too. Had to keep on the throttle just to keep the truck level. There we go. Look at that. Oh, a little bounce at the end. I mean, again, for the size, oh, got a rock caught in there again. So there's a downside for you. When you got the bigger wheels, the rocks will fall right out. But I'm impressed with the way this thing jumps. Oh, another rock. Here we go. Full head of steam this time. A little bit of a nosedive. I had to stay in the throttle too. But pretty impressed. Now the other issue for a small car is grass. And this stuff actually isn't too bad right here, but you know, this truck is low to the ground, so that grass is going to cause more friction, cause your electronics to heat up a lot quicker. So you just got to be aware of that. And that's why a 10 scale, a little bit better, you know, if you want to go run it in grass like this. Yeah, that grass way too tall. Those electronics will heat right up.
So now you've seen the two Arrma Granite platforms. You know their features, you know how fast they go, you've seen them perform, you know the price tags, and which is better for you. It really depends on what you're looking to get out of this hobby. If you just have a tight budget, you want to get the most bang for your buck, obviously the Granite Grom is the way to go. They give you everything you need in the box, and the truck is quick. You saw it fly, but it does have some limitations. You know, rocks got caught in the wheels. It's not going to go through big, tall grass. The terrain that you drive it on needs to be pretty smooth. And then with the 10 scale Mega, it is a bit more expensive. There's more upfront costs because you're going to have to buy a battery and a charger, but you saw this thing handle some pretty big jumps. It could handle much rougher terrain. It's still pretty quick. It was only 1 mile an hour slower out of the box, but it's a tough truck that you could actually grow into easily. The drivetrain on this one is brushless ready. I myself tend to lean towards larger size trucks, but again, it all depends on the space that you have. Not everybody has massive areas to run their RCs, and that's where the Groms and the smaller scale RC cars are really taking over a good portion of this hobby. So let me know your thoughts on which one is better in the comment section below, and if you're interested in learning any more about these two trucks, I'll have links in the video description below.